Alright, so we're live again, and we will continue exploring the new, improved TMPGEnc Video Mastering Works 7. As you can see right here, that's the exact point we left it last time. And we are still, excuse me, on the basic encoding, basic operation mode. Now, in this stream, we will switch to the timeline mode. And this is supposed to be the expert mode, right? So if anything powerful is hidden somewhere, it's gonna be inside the timeline mode. There is a possibility that you may need to return to this stage of the project. Save your project now. Interesting. Just for fun, let's save it. Oh, I haven't even saved my... yeah, let's put a temporary name here. Let me lower my music a bit because this is a bit too loud. Alright, so now let's get into this. Let's switch to timeline mode. Interesting. What do we get to choose here? Allows you to set a timeline, select from templates, set by clip characteristics. Oh, interesting. So, actually, it seems like we have to set the characteristics of like resolution and stuff of our movie here. This method allows you to set a timeline format from the characteristics of one of the clips you registered in the current project. Audio, slideshow, and color clips cannot be used. Alright, that's fair. That's actually cool. We can, I can enter my clips in the normal mode, make some quick cuts, combine them maybe with some transitions, and then I can enter timeline mode and have it set the settings by the clips. So let's go with that. I can choose one of them, but both of them, as you can see, have the same characteristics, so it doesn't matter. Alright, so even though I selected a clip, it still went ahead and opened the timeline format settings for me. It's just pre-entered some useful things here like resolution and frame, aspect ratio from the pixels and stuff like that. Audio sampling, yeah, it actually does a lot. Let's be honest, it actually does almost all the things you need. So let's go and just go ahead and just click OK here. All right, you can change the visibility anytime from the panel settings of the timeline preview if you don't need the source monitor. Okay. So let's see. Now this is unexplored ground for me. I am familiar with the normal mode because that's how the smart renderer operates, which is the other program that I use from Pegasus. This though is new for me. So I want to take a deep breath and see what it offers for the first time here myself. Alright, so we have two preview panes, obviously. One says source unspecified, which leads me to believe that it doesn't display anything that is on the timeline. It just displays maybe things from the Explorer. Oh man, that's gonna be interesting. Let's go ahead and do this. Alright, so bear with me because I have no idea how to work without my shortcuts here. Where are my gaming videos? Alright, there they are. This is a bit too restrictive. Let's see, what good can I bring into this? Let's continue bringing Far Cry clips because they are bound to be like the same format as always, so... Where have I stored them? Oh, I have stored them into the Twitch folder. Okay, cool. Bear with me. This is live. So, Far Cry, there you are. Alright, let's see. If I open this. Alright, just opens the normal video file. I want this to be on the preview pane or something like that. Can I not do this? Like drag this in? Alright, now. That's cool. I can bring a file into here. I don't know if that's the intended operation by the developers, but that's how I see it being used, at least. All right, so once I bring it here, can I do anything with it? That's the question. Interesting. So I don't see anything I can do with this. This just plays it. Add a layer. Delete a key. Oh man, there's so much stuff to see. Anyway, let's see what we have to work with aside from the preview pane here. This is just a preview pane for anything you like to drag onto it, it seems. This is a preview pane definitely for the yes, for the timeline. You can see. Very nice. Then right below them, of course, we have the timeline itself. This is very small, I have to say. I'm gonna have to see. How can I make this closer, smaller? I can definitely move this up and down. Yeah, this seems kind of funny to me. I can zoom in and out. I cannot make this bigger in any way. Let's start inserting some layers, maybe. Yeah, it expands with the layers. So, okay, interesting. It seems that it has a background layer here, which is supposedly for a photo or just black. How interesting. So the background layer is always a certain color. Very nice. I cannot seem to readjust the height of the layers here, so they are always this size. Interesting. I would have liked this to be sizable, because if I insert a WAV file, maybe it can display the waveform and I can see the changes. But I guess that's not the case. All right, in any case, can we at least rename this? Edit layer name, cool. So let's rename this to something silly. Let's rename this to something absurd. I don't know, I'm just doing stuff now. There you can see, you can lock this layer. What does this mean? Now I can move this. Let's go back. If I lock this, probably I can't. Yeah, okay, that's easy to understand, I guess. Then you have two buttons that enable or disable the video and audio, I guess. That's what the V and A should stand for. Let's see. So if I play this now. Yeah, let me just kill the music.
Sit down, and you and I...
You can see clearly you have video and audio. Let's see if that kills the audio. And indeed it does. And this should kill the video. Yes, so that's exactly that. And this should be a solo button. Let's see, single mode. Yeah, so if I single the other channel, yeah, nothing is on it. Unless, of course, I put something on it.
You could sit down, and you and I...
Alright, interesting. So how do I make this? Let's see. Alright, first things first, you can control this timeline by mouse. Let's see how. Okay, so I'm finding out stuff on my own here. For example, if I hold control and use the scroll wheel, I can zoom. Right in and out. If I don't hold control, actually the middle scroll wheel does nothing, which is a wasted opportunity. It should have moved the timeline left and right, but it does nothing actually. So there's that. Interesting. So clicking, of course, selects stuff. Clicking and dragging scrubs through it, and you can listen to the sound as well. Interesting. And clicking with the right mouse button just brings up a menu, and clicking and dragging with the right mouse button selects a region. So what happens if I hit delete, for example? Oh, you see, it cuts everything. Okay, what if I had two of them simultaneously? Would it cut both the clips? Yes, it does. And what would happen if I had selected one of them and then clicked delete? Oh, then it deletes the whole clip. Okay, cool. So it deletes whatever you have, it operates actually whatever you have selected, unless there's nothing selected, and then this region, whichever you specify here, comes into effect. Interesting. So let's continue exploring what we can find here on the timeline. So we saw the operations we can do with the mouse right now. Of course, you can click and drag. Nothing happens if you right click and drag. Nothing happens when you middle click and drag as well. So that's interesting. How do you actually, let me move this out of the way. How do you actually scroll here? Because I don't see any obvious way of doing this. It's very interesting. All right. First of all, that's the cool stuff here. You can hide this pane unless you really need to display the details of every file you select. That's not really something that's necessary. All right, so how do we get to scroll this thing? It's not very intuitive. This is zooming. Of course, you have this, but this is tedious. Do we always need to use this bar? Hopefully there are some shortcuts here. Which, by the way, let's see if we can find out more about. I'm finding this out live. This is the first time I'm using it. So this is why you can see me sometimes wondering things. All right, let's see if we have some hotkey settings here that could prove useful. Actually, in the preferences, there seems to be nothing about keyboard shortcuts, which is interesting. I guess we have to find it on our own, right? All right, so this is where you switch back to normal mode, by the way. There's a button here. And this is where you can change the timeline settings at any time. All right, that's useful. There are a lot of little buttons hidden here on and around the timeline. This kind of makes it, yeah, interesting. It's really a waste of time, of resources that they haven't implemented the scroll wheel here to move the timeline back and forth. It's a real shame. But alright, let's get over this. Let's see what the other buttons around do one by one. So you can add a layer being a channel here. Obviously you can also remove a layer. What else though? What is this? You can add a clip. Interesting. Oh, so that just opens up the wizard for entering and removing various kinds of clips. So for example, I could enter, let's say 3 seconds of black here. And it enters it right at the playhead and at the selected channel, of course, that's to be expected. Now let's see, I can manipulate its time right here, which is nice. You can see. Oh, interesting. I cannot extend the time backwards. I can only extend it forwards. Okay, that's a weird limitation. How about my actual clip here? So let me double click this, which opens up, of course, the edit window. And I'm gonna select a very arbitrary range here. Let's select something in-game, like from here to there, right? And that's gonna be the range I go with. So can I extend it backwards now? I cannot. Can I extend it forwards? I can. That's weird, and that obviously extends the selection, right? So let's see, if I extend the selection more, does it go into the black area there. No, it doesn't. Which leads me to believe maybe I'm time shifting here. Oh, that's not good. Let's see. Alright, so it's let me just kill the music. Alright, so it's just down the road now. Oh, okay. So actually, yeah, it does extend it, but it doesn't show. Now that is weird. Because look at this. I extended it and it just stays still, right? Waiting inside a car. Interesting. It just will stop and stay still at the last frame. Yeah, it stays still there. That's not a really useful operation, actually. What happens if I put the new point here? When you continue the process, the current settings of the transform and time remap will be affected or reset because the current duration of clips will be changed in the timeline. Do you really wish to continue? Yes, I do. Let's see if this resets things.
What do you think you're doing? This isn't your ride.
All right, so at least you can cure this. You can fix this easily. But this remains. What good is this handle here? There are some weird decisions being made here. I mean, okay, cool. Let's try and right click and do something. It doesn't do anything. Middle click, no, neither. All right, what does this do if I do it this way? That means I'm experimenting and I'll tell you. Okay, so moving these around actually do allow you to move the to make the clicks smaller or larger. The funny stuff is that if you enter the cut edit mode by double clicking on a file, it just doesn't represent it here. So I would have expected the in and out points to change, right? But they remain the same, which is not really good. Not good at all. All right, let's see what happens if I change the start point here. Let's say if I move it a bit earlier. All right, it just pushes the whole clip a bit further, right? It pushes it backwards, but the starting point remains the same. And I'm guessing that's also what happens if I extend the end point, but just for fun, let's see. Yeah, that's exactly what it does. So that kind of takes away your flexibility at operating left and right handles here, which is also a shame unless I'm not understanding something. All right, let's keep going and we'll see. So we're at this, at add a clip. Okay, so you can add a clip or you can remove a clip, I guess. All right, so this removes the entire clip. Add a text. Now, this is interesting. Let's start getting into texts. And I want to see something. What happens if I place this here? Okay, the program automatically gives me some breathing room, which is good. Let's put it all back together here. Oh, and there's also some snapping. You can see as I move, it snaps. That's probably this button here. If I remove it, yeah, I can now move it freely around. Otherwise, with this enabled, it naturally snaps into place. All right, enough talk though. Let's add some text now. All right, so what this does, it gives me a text preview here, of course, the supple text. And probably everything I need to know is on the right side here. So you get your start time, end time, start time in source. Interesting. What source? That is very interesting. Let me just delete this text. I'm going to select this clip and then add the text. Let's see if this considers this as the source of the text. All right, so now can I move this start time in source? No, it doesn't seem to respond to it. Anyway, let's move it down here. Let's actually layer this. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so the top layer is the most visible one. You would think that this would be standard in all programs, but you would be mistaken. Some programs consider the lower layers the ones that are at the forefront, right? So, okay, that's the sound logic here, though. I like how this program handles it. The top layers are the ones that appear first, right? And it should be like that. In any case, let's type some text here. How can I edit this? All right, I cannot double click and edit this right here. Right, I have to go here and edit this, I guess. So this is a test text. Oh, interesting. So it made the text smaller by default. If I remove words, it makes it larger. It tries to fill this box. That is good. That is good because you can place this wherever you like and then start editing. All right, and you can do it like that. What happens if I try and split the lines? All right, it does this naturally. And if I do this, yeah, it always conforms to the box, which is cool. It's nice. All right, let's see what else we can do with the text here. Render unit whole line word. I don't actually get what this is. It has to do something with renderings. Render Ruby separately. Okay, this is for Ruby text, which I do not know much about. But I'm guessing this will come into play later, maybe. So maybe for karaoke and stuff, which this program has features for, right? It has features for karaoke and such things. Maybe then this will come into play. Let's leave this at Word and we'll see. All right, text, Ruby text, and effects. Cool. You can, of course, change the font name. My actual question would be, can you use one separate font just for one word? Probably not. Yeah, it changes the whole thing here. So you would have to have separate texts for that. Let's yeah, all right, let's move ahead. So you cannot do like and of course the same goes for size. You cannot have differently sized words, I guess. Oh, interesting. So let's see. Can I make this? I can make this smaller. That's actually way too small, I guess. But if I try and make this larger, there's something weird happening. You saw the some blackness appear around it. All right, so there are some intricacies to this program that I need to work out, because you can see once I change the text, the size does not change, right? So this kind of feels wrong to me, but I'm guessing it's gonna come in handy maybe at other places. But in any case, let's put some music, by the way. All right, so we determined that this thing does nothing. I'm gonna keep going down this. Let's see what happens, because there was some weird like outline effect appearing. Yeah, you can see there appeared some black outline has appeared here suddenly. Oh, that's interesting. It tries to always stay at the same size. So it kind of introduces what looks to be like a black outline, but probably is not. Let's leave it at something safe, like 200. Let me now play with this. Let's go for 100 now. Okay, what happens now? There's a clear black outline. What happens if I shrink it? It remains the same. Interesting. So this is pure pixel size. And if I go to 200, Suddenly the outline is smaller. If I go to 300, it's even smaller, and 3000, you can see how this changes the outline in some weird way here. All right, whatever. This is growing pains for me. All right, let's see. What else can we discover here? So we have your usual styles: bolds, italics, underlines. Oh, interesting. Overlines. Now there's something you don't see every day. And you can see it has some clear spaces here, like when the line breaks. That's not actually something I want to see. Interesting. What happens if I go to 3000 again? It almost disappears, but not quite. All right, so 2048 is the maximum pixel size. What's the minimum? 1. Oh, the minimum is 1. Okay, good to know. Yeah, this is some weird stuff here going on. All right, let's move ahead. Let's put it at 200, and we'll see. I don't know about this black outline. We'll find out. Anyway, we have a strike through as well, and you can see all the effects that include a line, so underline, overline, and strike through. They kind of stop and start again whenever you encounter a space among the characters, which could be annoying. All right, of course, you have horizontal and stuff and centerings. Let me try and make this meaningful. All right, like this maybe. Now you can see that it centers, goes right or goes left. Let's leave it at center. You can also go up and down. That's better demonstrated if I do it like this. So now it's up, in the middle, or down. Oh, didn't want to do that, sorry. Oh, interesting. You can see there are snapping points all around the video and in the center lines. So I can snap to one center, the other center, the horizontal one, or both vertical and horizontal centers at once. Interesting. Layout range, within layout box, or within text group range. Now, why does this change the alignment? There are some weird things going on here. Align beginning of each line. So for example, let me try and have this center, and let's make this, let's say like this. This is a corner text. Let's see if we can align the starting point of each line. And yes, you can. Even though this is centered, it still aligns the starting points. That's cool. Right vertically, of course, you would expect what this does. Italics angle. Interesting. So can we increase this? Let's see how much bending we can do here. So this is quite a lot. You can even go over 100. So you can see you can do quite extreme effects here. And I don't know if you can play with those effects over time. So to change the italics angle over time, that would be interesting. Because you can go from like 135 back to 0. That would be an interesting change. Anyway, we have the underline thickness. Let's play with that as well. It slowly changes the thickness. Kind of struggles with it though. Let's go straight to 100%. Oh wow, that's some thickness. 1,000? No, 1,000 is non-existent. What's the maximum? The maximum is 100. All right, let's go back to 0. Oh, 0 is way too little though. Let's go with 5. And then you have, of course, overline and strikeout thickness as well for the other two line options. Letter spacing, interesting. All right, that's cool. You can add some spacing between the letters. That's things that you'll usually find in graphics editing programs, not in video editing programs. So that's always a welcome addition. Row spacing, yeah, that clearly adds spaces between, well, the lines. I don't know why it says row, but okay. It's line spacing in any case. Can I go negative? All right, how negative can I go? Let's make this interesting. All right, this is now this is starting to get creative. See, if you go negative, let's say this is a very creative text style. Yeah, you see, things get interesting here. All right, nice. Let's come back to reality, like a famous rapper said. All right, which is actually snap back to reality. But anyway, wrap the text. Interesting. So if I have a single line, let's see what wrapping the text does. Yeah, I actually have no idea what this is good for, because I'm saying wrap the text and it actually doesn't do anything, doesn't break it. Let's go with oh, now it does. Okay, cool. So wrap width. Now that's not a very cool way of doing this. So in the text department, I'm not really liking what I see up to now. I mean, I like the philosophy of the program, the general philosophy, but adding text, working with the timeline up to now, it's a bit tedious, I won't lie. But let's move on. Maybe I'll discover things later, and I discover things that makes navigating this whole program easier. All right, so let's undo the text wrap, or let's leave the text wrap. Let's leave things complicated. Oh, interesting. Text animation. Now we're getting into the fun stuff. Use karaoke wipe effects. Oh, man. And you can see here what's happening. Like this red thing represents how far into a singing line you are currently. Interesting. How can I affect this though? The template. So how does this go? You can see this just moves at a very normal pace.
This isn't your ride.
I know that I can somehow manipulate how fast this goes. And not only how fast in general, you can manipulate the speeds within this line. So it could go slow for the first word and very fast for all the other words, or anything in between. And I just have to find out where it does this. Maybe in the effects section? Oh, interesting. There's a border effect here. So that's what the black line was. Let's not use that. How do I affect the karaoke effect? Okay, so the before style and the after style and the speed control. That's all you need. Okay, so the before style is clearly empty. It's just the white text. The after style adds a border of red color and round style. So let's see. Let's play with this. Let's make this. Let's make this something impressive here. Soft, round, sharp. Yeah, round and sharp don't have much difference, do they? And blur. You can also have some opacity to it. Let's not use any. Yeah, let's go with a blur here. That sounds more, that seems more sexy. And let's try and control the speed here. So let's say that the song goes like this. Is a very creative text style. So the first and last words are very slow, and the middle words are fast. So I'm guessing this is how it progresses. How can I add? All right, double clicked and I added a point here. So let's make the first word slow. All right, so this is the first word. And let's make the last word very slow as well. So kind of here. So now if I play it back, you're going to see that the first and last words, this and style, are very slow, while the all the other words are quite fast. So this
What do you think you're doing?
is a very creative text style. Yeah, I know my singing leaves much to be desired, but bear with me. But you can see, anyway, how this has a variable speed here. Now it's slow, now it goes fast,
This isn't your ride.
and then slow again. It's not very, very pinpoint, so you cannot like see the individual words here and, just give it an instruction to use specific words as very slow. But that's okay. That's okay. You can work around with this. Right, so if you really want to do the karaoke text style, you can do this however in depth you want to. All right, so let's go back to the text now, and let's not use karaoke wave effects. Use starting animation. Interesting. So now this opens up an animation window that has several categories of animations, as you would expect here. So there's revealing, for example. Interesting, you can see by clicking on each of them, you can see what happens. Alright, so I'm gonna select something that I think like this, that brings in characters or words. Alright, let's go with the first one, which is very funky. So how does this look now? Alright, so it brings in character by character, right?
What do you think you're doing?
So remember when we select here, where was it? We had a rendering, render unit, character, line or word. Let's change this to word and see whether this has any effect on, well, the effect. So I'm changing this to word. And yes, you can already see that it affects words instead of characters now. Nice. Or you can even do this with lines. So the whole line is affected now. Interesting. Alright, so this is where this comes in handy, right? With the render unit. Very interesting. I'm gonna keep it at a character. And let's continue playing around here. So we have a starting animation. It's this kind. You can set the duration, of course. Easing, yeah, you can make this all sort of bouncy things here, like watch this. Yeah, that's not very sexy because it doesn't really, it's not really nice. Let's make it go slow at first and very fast then. Yeah, so you can clearly see it lingers for quite a while at first and then it speeds up. Very interesting. Let's keep things simple for now. Picking unit. Oh, interesting. So I'm guessing picking unit and adds at character. Let's see. If I change this to word, of course it goes to word. And I'm hoping that this combines and changes this thing here. No, it doesn't. Interesting. So you can see that whichever you change last, either the render unit or the picking unit, is what's gonna be enabled. So if I click word again, there it goes back to word. Alright, that's another weird implementation here. So in case you have word here and it changes, let's say to character, you just have to reselect this, and maybe that's because you selected a different render unit here. Man, that gets well, hi Blazon FPS, didn't see you check into the stream here. If you have any question about the program, feel free to ask by any means. Just bear in mind, this is the first time I'm using this, so I have a lot of questions myself, but I'm here to answer anything I can also. Alright, so let's move on. After welcoming Blazon FPS to the stream, and continue looking at... where did I stay? The text animation, yes, that's where we were. Let's put this at character, which is a bit more pleasing to the eye. And let's continue discovering things. So easing is another thing you can do. Picking order from first and from last, very interesting. So you can go backwards in revealing the text. Nice. You can have some overlap. Interesting. What does this do? Let's put some extreme values here, like, I don't know, like 20. And let's try and see what this does. Oh, it overlaps the starting points of different characters. So this could be creative, actually, if you put something reasonable like 5. This could look nice. Yeah, interesting. Okay, you can do all sorts of things here. That's very nice. All right, so let's see what else can we do. Let's ditch the animation, just because it starts getting very complex here, right? And yeah, I don't know. You of course can do an ending animation as well as a starting animation. And then we come to the transform area. Enable key points. Interesting. First of all, you can move this like that. Let's see what happens if I move this independently. All right, so I guess these are not related here. So this is just me selecting the starting point, and this thing, I don't know, does this move over time? Interesting, it does not. Let's first see what you can play with. Oh, interesting, but it did change my position. So look at this, if I reset this. Alright, so this is a weird philosophy that exists throughout this program, right? You can change stuff in 2 places and that change is not reflected. So this can be confusing at first for new users. For example, I'm moving this and nothing happens in this pane, right? So I'm putting this at the center and nothing has changed. But as soon as I click on this, yeah, it changes, right? So for example, I put it here. Oh, now it reflects it. Man, this program is weird. Okay, cool. Now it reflects my changes. I don't know what's I don't know what to make of this. Let's make it a bit smaller. Yeah, now it reflects the changes. And you can see it also changes the width. That's the third slider there. You can clearly see. All right, so let's see. What happens if I try to change the width, but not anything else? Yeah, the style, the text still conforms to the box. So this box is king here. This box cannot be overwritten by anything, which is interesting. You can add rotation, which you can also add by using these things here. Let me check if there's snap rotation. So I'm holding down shift. Yeah, if I hold down shift, it only goes 90 degrees. Interesting. What happens if I hold control? No, control does nothing. Alt also does nothing. So if you want to quickly reset the text to horizontal, you can do this by holding shift. That's a good feature. You can have different rotations. You can have 3D rotations actually. You can see here, that's interesting. You can have a text like this. Hopefully you can animate this like it goes away like this, for example. Interesting. And of course you have an opacity slider as well. Cool. Reset width and height. What does this do? Oh, interesting. So if you have a box that's a bit weird, you know, like it has spaces up and down, or it has spaces left and right, like this, you can quickly reset the box to hug the text very closely. Right, so not use any more space than it needs to. That's good. So then you have the transition, which is currently grayed out. That's interesting. Maybe if we put something next to it. So for example, now I have a transition here. What transition plays out? Let's see. This is just a simple crossfade for now. How can I? Oh, there you go. If I double click on this, then you get a transition selection. And actually, let's see. No, this still doesn't have any transitions. Interesting. So I don't know what this transition does. If I move this outside, it still is not enabled. If I put something on its backside, it's still not enabled. All right, so I'm actually at a loss here. I don't know what this transition thing is good for. Maybe. Nope. No clue. All right, let's continue. You have fade-ins and outs, which are transitions actually, so that's weird. I don't know, maybe this is used for some weird other transition that only specific textiles bring with it. Might be the case. In any case, let's select fade-ins and outs. Oh, and this is one of my things that I like to do. For example, this is where easing will come in handy. Let me just quickly go to the text again. You can see how the text fades kind of aggressively out. Well, it's linear, but it's still aggressive in my point of view. So maybe I could ease the fading out. So let's have it fade out a bit faster at first. Oh no, that's the opposite effect that I wanted. Interesting. Let's see. Can I ease the fading out here? Yeah, there you have it. You just have to switch the mode. Now it's gonna fade out very, very slowly. Interesting. Or maybe if I change and make this a bit more dramatic, let's put like 3 seconds so that you can clearly see this. Right, so you see how sweet it fades out right there, which is very nice. All right, cool. So there you have your fades. And then you have some border options. Let's deselect the fades there for a second. And let's enable the borders. Now this is probably what you'd expect. Let's put some background image there just to see the effect. And first of all, let's change the size. Let's make it something dramatic so it's visible. You have normal, soft, which you can see adds a blurry style. Or blur. Okay, so this is just two stages of blurriness, I guess. This is a soft blur and this is a much harder blur. You can clearly see this there. So this just takes care of the edges while this blurs the whole thing. Interesting. And normal is very aggressive, of course. Very hard. Anyway, that's a border. You can of course select the color. Oh, interesting. I didn't pay attention to that, but you can not only select a single color, you can select a pattern by using a picture maybe or something. Oh, very interesting. You can see there you have a background picture, and if I set this to blur, it's gonna be even more interesting. Right, so and you can also set a gradation pattern. So let's set this at something interesting like, I don't know, yellow and purple maybe. That will make any Lakers fans out there very happy, I guess. So there you have it. But you know what? Let me declare my loyalty to the Phoenix Suns here and go ahead with a orange and purple. Sorry if I've broken any hearts by saying this, but okay, there you have it there. So there's some very creative border styles. Very interesting. All right, cool. So, and also you can have, this is the last available filter here, you can have an outer shadow. Let's see how this works. Let's put some color into the shadow. Let's make it like yellow. Alright, and let's see what you can do here. You can have a hard shadow, which, oh my god, that's way too hard. Normal. You can control the size of it. But actually doesn't control the size of the shadow, it controls the size of the blurriness. So let's see, what does this do with hard? Oh man. Yeah, hard is way too hard. How about the angle? Yeah, that's moving 360 degrees around the text. It's okay. The distance, I'd like to have the distance a bit closer, like this, for example, or very far away. You know, you can do some interesting styles with this, like have this slowly go into the distance and fade away. It would be nice. And of course the opacity slider, which is customary to every kind of filter. Yeah, very interesting. So we have a lot of stuff here going on. All right, so that's the text. All right, since I reached the hour mark, I'm gonna end this here. I'm trying to keep these episodes in like an hour in size. And the next time I come back, we're gonna have a look at this add a filter. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff in here. Okay, interesting. We're gonna have a look at this. We're also gonna try and use the narration recorder here. Oh, and I can hear myself. That's not good. Let's close this. This is gonna be weird if I hear myself, but we're gonna figure this all out together, I guess. And also we're gonna look at the other stuff here, like the assets, the format, the encode pane, the output preview and stuff like that. And maybe start playing around a bit with a few videos and make something realistic. Maybe I'll even make an episode that I'm actually gonna upload or something. In any case, we're gonna continue exploring this program and learn more about it. So be sure to check back if you want to learn more about this TMPGEnc Video Mastering 7 suite. Remember, I'm also uploading my videos on DTube in case you miss a stream of mine, right? And you will find everything that I do here uploaded in highlight form. So I'm not gonna usually upload everything, but I'm gonna be uploading in any case the most important stuff. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope I catch you later in the next video. Until then, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.